welcome to episode 91 of BigRedBarel Geek Speak, a place for all your nerdy needs on BigRedBarel.com. My name is Alex, I'm a self-appointed baroness of butts, I'm also the host for the show yet again. Hey everyone! I'm also not alone today. As always, I am joined by jauntily jubilant juggernaut of Joe.
Hello!
Hey Joe, how you doing?
Alright, I'm very good,
Yeah? We had a bit of a late night yesterday.
We did. There was overwatching to be done, because it was the last day of the season.
I don't think we've ever done this. We played until pretty much
until
the
they
last
kicked us
minute.
out, basically.
Yeah. We finished right on the dot at 1 a.m.
Yeah. And it was awesome. That last match pushed Bleezy into platinum, so it was wicked. By 1 point.
I remember getting into platinum, and I remember being very excited, so I could totally understand how he was feeling.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And we have returning our very, very special, the precious Pokemon Pixie powerhouse, Pansy Pokemonica. Hey, Mon.
Hello.
It's not weird at all, is it? It's perfectly rational and fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Look, I'm a little bit impressed. I didn't stumble that much while trying to read it out loud. You know?
It's pretty good.
It's long, but we're getting there.
I remember being younger and being like, man, my name is so hard to nickname. My name sucks. It's like, okay, maybe not.
No, Pokemonica is here forever.
Yeah.
By the way, you started it all by yourself. You confessed to being called Pokemonica.
That's true. Oh, my fault. What if I did?
Okay, so we're gonna start with our time wasters of the week, and this week they're courtesy of me, and we're gonna have two. One of them is an interesting one for me and for a couple of listeners that have been reading John Scalzi books, and it's a really quick one. If you listen a couple of episodes back, I was talking about John Scalzi's new book, The Collapsing Empire, that came up, and how much I loved it. And today I came across an article written by John Scalzi himself on Tor.com, which are his publishers, where he was talking about the books that influenced The Collapsing Empire. And why I wanted to mention it is because, when the book came out, it kind of had a backlash because either someone made a comment about it being like Dune, or it was marketed for some reason as the new Dune. There is some inspirations taken for Dune, and he does mention it as one of the books that inspired him in The Collapsing Empire, but they're very, very different books, and I don't think the backlash for Collapsing Empire because someone said it was like Dune was absolutely granted. I'm like, I don't really understand.
Wait, are you trying to say that fanboys will fanboy?
Yeah, fanboys will fanboy, won't they? But anyway, I think just the books that he listed on there are just pretty cool books in general. And I've read 2 out of them on the list. In the other 3, I've actually kind of had on my to-read list for a very, very long time. So I think, I'll read them out. And maybe some of you read them, or if you haven't read them, they're definitely ones to check out. So, as I said, Dune by Frank Herbert. I mean, the face of the sci-fi could not be as it is today without it.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's
not bad.
Yeah. The later ones get very confusing, but the first couple of them are pretty good. There is Grass by Sherry S. Tepper. There is The Goblin Emperor by Catherine Addison. And there is The Hydrogen Sonata by Ian M. Banks.
Ooh, I think I've read that one.
And Ian Banks he's probably as influential on sci-fi as Frank Herbert, if not more.
Yeah.
So he's really crazy. And then he put another one of his books, Old Man's War by John Scalzi himself, which is it's not one of his first books, but this is one of the books that he became really famous for. That series really kind of propelled him from the unknown sci-fi author to John Scalzi he was before. So I'm going to put the link to the article in the show notes so you can check it out and see what inspired him about that, and definitely check out all those books if you're a sci-fi lover, because this is just an excellent recommendation all around. Now on to our less reading base time waster of the week. Do you guys like Love Actually?
No.
Yes.
Oh.
No, I do not.
I like it because it became a Christmas tradition at home. My mom really loves it. So much so that I once linked her an article that dissed it, but in a funny way, and she got really angry at me.
I mean, yeah, I love Christmas tradition movies. I have one of my own. My Christmas tradition movie it's Die Hard.
Oh, Die Hard is a pretty solid one.
On Christmas Eve, I always watch Die Hard and have a drink and just sort of relax and get ready for the day ahead, pretty much. But yeah, Die Hard is the Christmas movie for sure.
Well, I happen to really like Love Actually.
Good.
It is very cheesy.
I'm glad. I really do not, but I'm glad people do, because obviously that's fine.
No, that's fine. Contrary to popular belief, we're allowed to have differing opinions.
This is true. This is very true, and I agree.
Yes. So, anyway, back to the point. I actually really like Love Actually. It's just the perfect amount of cheesy for me, and I really enjoy it. And what I came across, and I don't actually know when it came out, but it just showed up on my YouTube feed, because apparently my YouTube knows me better than I know myself.
Isn't that scary when it does that, though?
I know,
when YouTube
right?
suggests videos for you, and you're like, how did you know? YouTube, how did you know? It's creepy. The all-seeing eye of Google.
We watch you.
But apparently the Road Nose Day campaign, which I think it's an American charity that collects money for children living in poverty, they either sponsored that...
Yeah.
Is it
I
British?
think Red Nose Day started in the UK many, many years ago and then branched out to America.
Yeah.
Because it's been going as long as I can remember in the
when
UK.
I was a kid, I remember when I was tiny, I was like, that was the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I don't really know anything about that charity, but yeah, fair point.
Yeah.
Anyway, they did this little video for Love Actually 14 years later, reunion. So a lot of the cast from Love Actually came and they filmed like 10-minute little film of where all of the characters are at. After 14 years.
I vaguely remember hearing about this before. I think they did this for the Red Nose Day that was last on in the UK fairly recently.
I'd not heard of it at all.
Well, see, I don't actually know when it happened. It just popped up a couple of days ago on my YouTube, and I was like, that is quite interesting. And it's equally amount of cheesy. Some bits are a bit ridiculous. Some bits are a bit... This is a bit awkward. And like, not everything is great. And unfortunately... for obvious reasons, Alan Rickman isn't there.
Oh, Alan Rickman.
Oh, no.
Oh, too soon.
And Emma Thompson wasn't there as well, but pretty much everyone else participated in this little charity video, and it was really cute. The beginning was... actually, I think, the funnest part of it. Because do you remember our favorite dad from The Walking Dead holding different cards?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they kind of like, right, we're not gonna take this seriously. We know that was a really silly scene. We're gonna make the most of it.
Did they make Walking Dead jokes on the cards?
They didn't. They did make some
that's
other
a missed
jokes.
Opportunity, surely. They should have just had one saying, Carl?
Anyway, so that is out as well. So if you like Love Actually, or even if you hate Love Actually, check it out. Again, I'll post a link in the show notes.
Yeah,
okay,
I know most people like that film. I do swim against the tide with that one. I know it's actually very popular, but no, it annoys me. I'm not hugely into, like, some romantic comedy type films are great. Like, there's some really, really good ones out there, but a lot of them they just annoy me. I'll just go and watch Aliens instead, I think.
Have you seen Aliens on Ice?
No, but I feel like I should. That feels like a gaping hole in my life that I'm going to have to fill as soon as possible.
We'll put the link in the show notes. It's only a couple minutes.
Good.
It's only a couple minutes long.
Excellent.
But it's worth watching. I'll link it to you at the end.
That sounds excellent. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, free time wasters of the week.
Right.
Aren't you guys lucky? So many things to check out.
Just spoiled.
Okay, on to the main body of our topics. I'm going to talk about this very briefly because this weekend I was at MCM London, so MCM Comic Con. I'm not really going to talk much about it because I was working this MCM, so I didn't really have that much of a time to walk around and see what's there. But just a quick update on where MCM is in May, and there'll be another one in September. But in this one, first of all, I gotta give them a big shout out for really buffing up the security for this event and like really taking it seriously. And, you know, they were triple checking everyone's bags. They were, they were really diligent, and that was really, really great. Other than that, it's still the same big, Comic-Con, lots of shops, not much to do still, in my opinion. again, do not recommend going there Saturday because you'll be feeling like you're walking like in sardines tightly packed together. Friday and Sunday are okay. From what I heard, there were a few cancellations. Like, they usually have big celeb guests, and there's supposed to be Warwick Davis there who cancelled. There's supposed to be a couple of other people, like big people that have cancelled out of the blue. And I think there was some controversy because there have been backstage passes to Warwick Davis or something that cost a lot of money, and I'm not sure if people were giving their money back when he cancelled. Yeah, but I'm not too sure about that. I suspect that, again, the cancellations happened because of the unfortunate things in Manchester, so that's kind of understandable in a sense. I could understand why someone would cancel a big, huge convention.
It's up to the MCM people to sort out refunds then for people, really. I mean, that's what they should do, and hopefully they will do that.
Maybe they did. This was a rumor on the ground while I was working that I heard that they didn't, but I'm not sure, so I don't really want to, put the blame on it for them because I don't know if that is actually the case, but I just know that there were some cancellations.
MCM is kind of like, I've never been to one, it's kind of like a big cosplay thing, right? There's loads of cosplay people there and stuff.
I mean, the cosplay is one of the greatest things about it, that some cosplays are amazing. I mean, the cosplay that blew me away just on a geek nerdery level was there was an absolutely brilliant Lucius and Narcissa Malfoy. Like, their costumes were really, really top class, and they were also holding a Dobby puppet doll, which I thought was really cool.
Oh right, yeah.
And they were really kind of in role. They were, holding their noses up high and looking from anyone like they were beneath them, and I was like, yes, that is how they're supposed to be. This is great.
That was cool.
Yeah, but other than that, I would say if you're in MCM Comic Con, go to Comic Village, check out all the artists that come there because they're the most talented people out there on that show, and they're worth checking out just their art and what they're doing. And there's actually a lot of book authors there as well that are coming to show and talk to you about their books and sell them as well, of course. This is the time where I really wished I wasn't a poor student and I could come and support some of the artists, so I highly urge, if you're going to MCM, pop into Comic Village. That is one of the best things about MCM, and there's just amazing talented people there that go buy a card for them, something, or come and say that you love them work, because support for that kind of stuff really, really helps.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is my very brief update on MCM, but someone else has been out and about and visiting cons.
Yes.
Right, Monica?
Yeah, so I went to Stockholm for PDXCON.
Yeah, someone's fancy.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was really cool. This is the first year that they've opened it up to the public. So we thought, ooh, this sounds like something cool. Get to see a different city and get to listen to all the talks. They have some really, really cool talks.
What is PDXCON about?
About Paradox games, really.
Alright, so it's just games, like, that's all they do there.
Yeah, it's just all about the game. So they did announcements for some new things that are up and coming. They're publishing a bunch of cool new games. There's one that's cool.
I'm going to sound like the biggest noob, but what is Paradox?
So they're a Swedish developer / publisher. Done Europa Universalis and Magica and
I've heard of that one.
Oh god, a lot of games. My brain is just frazzled right now. They're essentially, they really focus on grand strategy, so they are big experts.
Okay.
Hearts of Iron as well as one of their other games.
I've heard of that one. Oh, cool, nice.
Yeah, so they're all about then, and they publish City Skylines.
Yes, right, got ya.
So the people from City Skylines were there, and it was really cool. Well, at least the CEO lady was there, and she did a really cool talk all about kind of the development process of the game and how 8 of them started making the game. We were just there in the audience cringing, being like, oh my god, only 8 people, what the hell? And she was so lovely. She was like, oh yeah, and so within the first 3-5 weeks, we sold 1.5 million copies. So I bought myself a pony and a Jaguar.
Nice.
But wait, so you're saying it was never open to the public before, so who were they kind of inviting before? So it was just like
I think it was like press and developers only.
All right.
So you had to get an invitation to come.
So I'm guessing it's not very big then.
It wasn't huge.
One venue.
Yeah, it was a really lovely venue. It was this old building in one of the historical islands in Stockholm, and they had a really nice little courtyard with some heaters and a big stage, and they had different rooms in the inside the building, and they had like karaoke set up for the first evening and all sorts of stuff, and it was really, really nice. It was just like a really small scale, not quite MCM because it wasn't all, there was some cosplay, it was cool, but it was just a very, very small scale version of that, and it was really nice. The talks were really interesting, all about the AI and where they're taking some of the games next and development stuff about that, and it was really nice because it let fans ask questions of the developers.
That's cool.
And the fans were really fun. They, you could tell they really, really were into the games. Yeah, it was a really cool atmosphere, and it just made me so happy that I get to make games. And came back to my house, I was like, "Come on, guys, come on, look, this team was this small. Why are we not making this stuff? We gotta make this stuff. Let's make stuff like this." Ah. So yeah, I think my colleagues are a bit fed up of me talking about it.
Oh, I'm sure they're not. I'm sure they're really not.
I hope not. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was just great being surrounded by people who are so passionate, and even though I'm rubbish at grand strategy games, I can play Civ, and they had I have forgotten his name. Oh my god, what is wrong with me? Sorry, I'm really not with me. One of the head designers from Civ has just joined Paradox.
Right.
To make grand strategy games for them, so he's left for Axis.
I must admit, I don't really play strategy games at all. Like occasionally, like some of the older ones, like perhaps things like Age of Mythology and stuff like that. But I've never been sort of massively into strategy games. But I do find it very interesting, and there's loads of people that really love it. Like I know a few people that love strategy games. So it's I had no idea there were cons for it. I mean, I assume there's cons for everything, pretty much, aren't they? But that sounds really cool.
Yeah, and the guy's John Schaefer.
There we go.
Ah.
Yeah, I didn't know they even did this before. We just found out they got announced this year, and because we follow the Paradox Twitter accounts and everything, so we saw it come up. But yeah, I prefer simpler styles of strategy, mostly because I really struggled to keep up with so much stuff. But we were watching some YouTubers like Quills playing through a game of Hearts of Iron, and it's insane the stuff you can do in that game. It is insane, and they're really, really thinking it through. It's like, okay, well, how do we want the end game to be like? How do we want these very specific tanks to develop? How do we want the gameplay between this bit and this bit to develop? And it's like layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of AI and layer upon layer of strategy and thoughts and processes, and it's like, oh god.
Sounds very complicated.
They must have some crazy flowcharts.
Yeah, I can imagine. Crikey.
Yeah, it was good fun. I would recommend it to people who like the games to go next year.
To fly to Stockholm.
Fly to Stockholm.
That would be amazing.
I've heard that Stockholm's a lovely city. I've never actually been. I've been to a few other places in that area, like Norway and Finland, but I've never actually managed to get to Sweden. But I've heard that Stockholm is beautiful.
It is really beautiful. It is also really expensive.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Kind of like Amsterdam level expensive.
I've never been to Amsterdam, so I don't know. Does Amsterdam sell you a beer for £8?
Oh, in some places, yeah. Like it's really kind of it's like a lot of big cities, I guess. Some places you go are going to be very high market, but Amsterdam is kind of expensive to sort of stay in. Like hotels in the main city can be quite expensive in peak season, but it's definitely worth the trip.
Oh, okay. Oh, I really want to go to Amsterdam one day as well. And that was funny because on the plane, Ollie kept making 420 Blazer jokes just constantly. And I was really confused. I was like, what? Where do you think we're going? He's like, isn't this the city where they have legalized weed? And it's like, no.
Oh no. Was he like crushed?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm so disappointed.
It's like, what? I thought we were going to the cool city. It's like, no, we're going to Stockholm.
Oh.
Hey, Stockholm has Carlson. It's all good. It's a cool city.
It has what?
Have you guys not know about Carlson?
No.
What's Carlson?
It's a beautiful children's book about a man who lives on the roof. It's a little plumpy man, and he has propeller on his back, and he flies around, and he's got his friend, which is also a little boy, and oh my god,
Aww.
guys!
That's
It's
cool.
childhood.
Well, that's like
check him out.
If you go to Helsinki in Finland, they have a Moomin shop because that's obviously where Moomins are from.
Ah, I love Moomins.
So you can go and get, like, I went when I was there and bought loads of Moomin things.
There's a Moomin shop in Covent Garden as well, you know.
Oh my god, there is, and I've never been. Ah! I must go.
It's pretty tiny, but it's pretty nice.
But I love the Moomins.
Me too.
Next trip, Joe. Next trip.
My fella calls the Moomins nightmare fuel. So we disagree on this. I think they're adorable.
I think Moomins are lovely. We have like a big Moomin plastic placemat in the splashback of the stove.
Oh,
It's because it's always nice and colourful, and whenever I'm cooking, I've got it there. It's like a nice backdrop.
Oh, yeah, I have so much Moomin stuff in my house, just all like little things all over the place.
Oh, Moomins are the best.
But coming back to cons, so what can you actually do there? I'm guessing there are stalls where you can play games. There's lots of panels. Is there anything else, like competitions or whatnot?
They did a lot of stuff with YouTubers and streamers, so they had Angry Joe there.
Mm-hmm.
I got to meet Angry...
Did you geek out?
Yeah, I did. I walked up and I was like, oh my god, you're Angry Joe! Ah! Ah! And other Joe as well. Ah! They were a bit busy at the moment at that time, so I couldn't really get to speak to them, and then I never got to see them at the con again. But they had lots of little demo stations for new things coming up. So, for example, they're publishing Prison Architect on mobile and tablet. Or on just on tablet, just on iPad.
Okay, I don't have anything against Prison Architect, but it seems like it's been trying to come out on one thing or another for like 4 years now, because wherever I go to a video game con, it's always there.
I don't know. Maybe they just keep trying to publish it onto mobile, or getting ports of it, or I don't know. But it looked pretty cool.
I've seen it at EGX many times.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's always there.
Because it's great, I guess.
I don't have anything against it. It's just every time it's like, I love I'm blanking out on the name. Monica!
What?
What have you done to me
Sorry,
now? I can't remember
contagious.
things either.
The thing.
That silly game where you fight with marshmallow people.
What? Marshmallow people.
No.
So it's not
What
Clash
is it
of
called?
Clans, or are you thinking of Clash of Clans?
No, marshmallow people. What are they called?
It'll come to you in the
Oh my
middle of the
God,
night,
yeah.
and you'll be like, "That's what it
No, wait,
is."
I'm gonna ask. It's killing me.
Yeah,
It's killing me.
Tim, what is the Marshmallow People game? Tim's like, football?
Football.
Yeah, and they had panels, and they had a bunch of streamed competition where a few well-known YouTubers and some of the dev team went and did big matches of various games. They did a big Hearts of Iron game, and yeah, I'm quite sad we didn't hang around much for the party because we were so tired and it had been so cold. Kind of huddled back in the hotel and watched Eurovision.
Oh, Eurovision. That was great.
That was the Twitter was lit.
Well, that's
fire.
I was just on Twitter and talking with Alex and the people we play games with on WhatsApp and stuff, and yeah, it was Eurovision classic.
Oh yeah, don't get me started on Eurovision. Anyway, what I was gonna say, and I don't know how the hell Common is gonna edit it out, so Common, if you don't want to edit this in, ignore it. But to me, seeing Prison Architect at cons is the same thing as seeing Gang Beasts at cons. Like, I know it's
Gang
great.
Beasts.
Can you come out already, please?
It's still not
I know
out.
Gang Beasts.
It's out on PC.
It's out on PC. It's not out on consoles.
No,
Oh,
it's
right.
meant to be. They've been hawking it at cons for about the last 3 years.
Yes, I mean, I get it. I love it. Can we have it, please?
Soon. We'll see it at EGX again, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Probably.
Along with Prison Architect.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
The two
probably.
together.
I'm
Buddies
sure they
for
will be there.
life.
But it's okay. It's nice to get people hyped about stuff. I can't complain. Our game will probably be. I don't know if there's going to be at EGX. It's definitely going to be at E3.
Ooh.
It's already just Fable Fortune.
Nice.
Yeah, we remember it.
So that's
Fable Fortunes.
going to be out soon.
Yeah, okay.
Soon. I don't know. I'm not working on it, so I don't know exactly when. But soon.
Cool.
Yay.
So yeah, one ParadoxCon, thumbs up.
Yeah.
For the lovers of Paradox and for the lovers of video gaming.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Okay, moving on from the con awesomeness. I'm guessing to a movie awesomeness.
Yes, so obviously last week I talked quite a lot about King Kong and Alien again, didn't I? And I said I wouldn't do that again.
Yeah.
Which is kind of true, because now I'm going to talk about tentacle monsters.
Yay!
So I'm going to talk about The Void, which is a horror film I've had my eye on for a little while. It was it was kind of kickstarted on Indiegogo, and it's sort of I think kind of a debut from a directing duo called Stephen Kostansky and Jeremy Gillespie. I'm not sure what they've done previously. I think they've done a few others, so like super low budget films and other bits, but this is kind of like the first film of theirs that sort of started to gather attention. And it's essentially John Carpenter's The Thing meets The Fog meets Stranger Things meets Twin Peaks meets Hellraiser, and they all kind of get together and have a big old party. That's kind of what it is. It's not.
But is it a good party? Is it a fun party?
It's both a good and bad party. It's very admirable in that what kind of made people pay attention to this film and what sort of put it on my radar is that all of the effects in it are practical effects. So they're harking back to sort of like the classic 80s horror movie thing of awesome practical special effects, like in The Thing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
So when people heard that they were doing this, they were like, oh great, this is what we want, this is about time, yes, more films like this, less CGI nonsense. Because I think when people started to sort of hear about this kind of film being sort of on the radar, it was not too long after the prequel to The Thing had come out, and that was like fine but so full of CGI that it was just kind of made a lot of people sort of go, I want the old Thing back with the practical special effects, they were awesome. And so this film has appeared. So what it kind of is about is there's this police guy whose name is Daniel. He's like Deputy Daniel, and he's like in his squad car one night, and he sees this guy run out into the road, like he's running away from people, and this guy is in a bit of a bad way. He's been beaten up a bit and he's terrified, and he's like, okay, I don't know what's happening. He takes him to the local hospital, which is running a skeleton crew at the moment because the hospital is actually being shut down, so there's only like 4 people there. And so the hospital is really empty and creepy and stuff. It's kind of, the film feels like it's a period film. It feels like it's set in late 80s, early 90s or something like that. But I don't think that's actually intentional. Because it's like, if it is, it's done so subtly, like it doesn't really register. Like for one thing, no one ever uses a mobile phone. There's moments in the film where you think, well, if they had a mobile right now, that would be really useful. But no one ever uses one or seems to even question, do we have one? Could we use one? So that made me kind of think, well, is this a period film? And then at another point, someone makes a comment about, we have computers now that we can do things on. So it's kind of, I think it's kind of a little bit of a throwback to 80s/90s, sort of in its time period as well as in its content, but not totally sure. In terms of like the script and the characters and stuff, they don't really register. They're kind of really thin and you don't really care about any of them. Which is a shame, because when you look at something like The Thing, you care about all of those people. They all have distinct characters and you actually care what happens to them. Whereas in this, you kind of don't. You just kind of, you're watching it to see what's going to happen. And the plot kind of has moments where it really gets a bit languid and it drags and you're kind of like, come on, get going, let's go. And I also feel like it kind of missed a trick a little bit in not properly making itself like an 80s throwback. Like you look at some of the advertising for the film and it's really kind of the font style and the poster style and stuff like that is very much, this is an 80s horror movie, it's proper going to be synth tentacles, it's going to be that sort of thing. But they don't really capitalize on that. It's a little bit flat in that regard. But that's kind of like the bad stuff, where it's kind of, it's low budget sort of nature sort of screams out from the screen. But there's so much kind of good stuff that it kind of elevates it to enough where it's actually worth watching. So like the practical effects that I've mentioned before are really cool. Like they've really done very well on their extremely limited budget. Like I think it was made for less than $100,000.
Oh wow!
I think it was on Indiegogo. It raised something like $80,000, and then had a little bit more distribution budget and stuff like that from some distributors. But this is like super low budget movie, and they've done so well in terms of the set design and the creature design and the special effects in terms of the practical effects and stuff like that. That it's very admirable what they've done. And it is worth watching. Like if you, I don't want to say too much about the plot and things, like it gets a bit weird and a bit Twin Peaks and culty, and there's all sort of like loads of weird things going on and commentary about the metaphysical nature of humanity and all these kind of things. And then in the next scene, you've got like a big tentacle monster. So it's like, so, you know, it's really kind of ambitious, and I really admire it for that. So even though it has problems with its script and its pacing and the characters, it does so much that is entertaining and good in terms of the horror elements that I was enamoured with it. I was quite pleased with it. So yeah, so it gets the recommend. And one thing that was really cool about it is some of the cast. So there's one character who's a nurse called Kim. I think she's a nurse intern, so she's super young and she's kind of a bit nervous and she doesn't know what she's doing. And she was played by Ellen Wong, who people might remember from Scott Pilgrim. She played Knives.
Oh, yeah.
And she's very good in this. She's pretty cool. Like, she has to do a lot of screaming and stuff and pretending like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. This is terrible. We're all going to die. But she does it in a way that doesn't make you immediately hate her. So it's okay. And then it's also got a chap called Kenneth Welsh in, who's kind of a bit of a sort of character actor villain mainstay. And some people might remember him from Twin Peaks. He was the villain, Wyndham Earle from Twin Peaks. So that's pretty cool. So they've got a couple of good names in there. And yeah, it's, if you like your 80s horror movies, your Hellraisers and your The Thing and stuff like that, you're going to enjoy it. So yeah, if you can get it. I mean, I think when it came out, what was quite interesting about it is that it had a limited theatrical release, and it also released on Blu-ray and digital at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So
wow.
I ordered it on Blu-ray.
Don't see that a lot.
Yeah, you don't get it much. It happens more with lower budget films because it's an easier way for them to make their money back, to just do a simultaneous release across all platforms.
Yeah. And then they don't have to do 2 rounds of marketing.
Exactly. So it had this limited theatrical release and also digital release. I wanted to get it on Blu-ray because I wanted the special features that were on the disc as well, like the behind the scenes stuff. And it took me quite a while to get it. Like, I ordered it from Amazon and it took a few weeks to come. And it just arrived this week, so I thought I'd watch it. And yeah, I did enjoy it. I think it's a nice little love letter to the classic horror movies of my youth. And yeah, it gets the recommend, for sure.
All right, nice.
Tentacles.
Yeah.
Tentacles, yeah. It didn't get far away from the alien and Godzilla.
It's kind of, yeah. I tried, but no.
So, yeah, well, this is a recommend from you. The next movie is not a recommend from me. And I'm talking about The Passengers.
Oh, yes, I've seen this. Yeah.
That sci-fi movie with Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt.
I haven't seen it.
Well, don't really, I guess.
I don't know.
But it's really weird. So it was made by the guy who did The Imitation Game, whose name I'm going to butcher completely, but it's Morton Tildum.
Mm-hmm. He also did Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Oh, that was really good.
He's an excellent filmmaker, yeah.
So like good movies. And then the script is written by John Spates, who got Doctor Strange, which is okay. Apparently he did a bunch of writing, and you can tell me if I'm wrong on here, Joe. He did a bunch of writing on Prometheus, but then someone else came in and finished the script.
Yes, him and Damon Lindelof co-wrote it, I believe. They're pretty much the ones that everyone blames for Prometheus being terrible, is those two.
Yeah, and then he's also written the Mummy reboot, which is really not a recommend for me. But yeah. But from what I hear, the rumor around town is that everyone initially, like, The Passengers is a pretty old script, and everyone loved it so much that James Spates got a lot of work just off this script without it being filmed.
Yeah.
And I find that extremely questionable.
It does happen, yeah. They have the blacklist, don't they, where like scripts will sit on for quite a long time, and they're like considered the high caliber of scripts, but no one's kind of brave enough to make them.
Oh no, that I completely believe. It's just this script isn't good, which is why I don't understand how everyone, the rumor of him getting work of that amazing script and it being sort of almost an urban legend of The Passengers.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe that.
Probably because nobody read it. Maybe, because some dialogue there is absolutely atrocious. But anyway, so
The Passengers is about Chris Pratt, whose name is Jim, and he is a mechanic, and him and a bunch of 1,000 other people, they're traveling in the spaceship Avalon to a planet, I presume, called Homestead 2, so they're kind of immigrating.
They're colonists. They're colonists, aren't they? They're kind of, they're going to set up a new colony on another planet.
Yeah. They are a part way for their 120-year journey, and about 30 years in, something malfunctioned in Chris Pratt's pod, and he wakes up, and he's all by himself. The thing is, and I'm gonna talk to you guys, now, I can leave it at here and not say anything else, but that will be a pretty boring discussion. Or I can go into a slightly spoiler territory, and to me, the movie is so average, and what is considered a first major plot turn is right in the beginning of it. What was marketed was a very big plot turn, and what I thought was a really big plot turn coming in, it's in the first 10 minutes of the movie. And it's really impossible to say the biggest fault with that movie without saying what that movie's about.
Yeah, no, I understand. I've seen it as well. I saw it in cinema, and I liked it a bit more than I think you did. Yes, the script is not that great, and there are certainly things that he does that are extremely questionable, and it bothered me in certain ways. But I don't know whether we should, because it is the kind of thing that if you know, it does ruin the movie. If you know about it.
See, I think it doesn't. I'm in the firm kind believer that it doesn't. I don't think, because, to be honest, I think that is... Well, first of all, Mon, do you care?
I'm just wondering if Ollie would care, because he's going to listen to this. I personally don't care. My dad was talking about it last night and saying it was a good movie, but I don't know. I can tell him to skip forward past this bit if he wants.
Well, look, I'm going to say, if you don't care on being spoiled, then we're going to talk about this a little bit more.
Yeah, go ahead.
And going from here, please consider everything to be spoiler. I will just, before we go into spoiler territory, I'm just going to say that for me, it's not a recommend. Jo seemed to like it.
It's okay.
But
it's okay.
She acknowledges with me that there are major problems. I have a bit more of a problem with that major problem. And
I'm just kind of curious now. I'm curious now. I need to know.
Yeah,
I know. I think I know what your problem is, and I totally agree with what your problem is with this.
Go on then.
Spoilers ahead. If you don't want to be spoiled, look at the timestamps in the show notes and forward to the timestamp there. Okay, so, and here we come into spoiler territory. So, Chris Pratt's character wakes up and his pod is the only one's malfunctioned. Obviously, they have a very long journey ahead of them, so by the time they arrive, he's probably going to be dead. There's no one around, except for a very amusing android played by Michael Sheen, and I actually quite like Michael Sheen in here, and I quite like Michael Sheen pretty much in anything, I have to say.
Yeah, he's awesome. He even made the Underworld movies watchable, the ones he was in. Yeah. He was cool.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so, Chris Pratt is all by himself, and he kind of gets through it in about a year. He kind of manages to survive, but then he comes across this girl sleeping in a pod whose name is Aurora.
Oh god, that's a bit ham-fisted.
Yeah.
That
is.
Isn't it?
Ham-fisted.
And he, through kind of watching her sleep and watching her interviews before her journey, he ends up falling in love with her, and then he battles with himself on whether to wake her up.
So he's being a dirty, dirty creep.
Basically, yeah.
He is being
basically,
dirty.
This is kind of like, you could almost argue that the entire movie is sort of a rape apologist sort of movie. Because, like Alex will continue to say, he wakes her up and he basically steals her life from her. And the film, it tries to sort of get onto his side of it in that he's kind of driven a little bit nuts by being alone for so long, and he's just so desperate for another human companion that's why he does it. But I don't think that's okay.
No, that's still not okay.
Well, that is not okay. And you know what? There are two sides of me that think that this movie just completely missed either of those sides. There's an absolute fascinating kind of moral conversation to have about him doing that, but it is a much darker movie. And it is a movie in which she does not forgive him, and spoiler alert, Sorry,
Yeah,
she
it's
does forgive
ridiculous.
him.
She gets angry with him for like a few days, and then she forgives him later, and you're like, the guy essentially murders her, right?
Yeah.
He essentially takes her life away, and she just forgives him after a few days, and it's kind of like, no.
I would be like, what the actual shit?
Yeah.
What with Stockholm syndrome?
They tried to explain it away by saying that, the Avalon was in danger, and they kind of had to work together to survive, and through that, saving themselves and 1,000 other passengers on the ship, they managed to kind of bond and fall in love again. But I think that's a really, really bad take on it.
Yeah, I agree with you on this.
Yeah, and you know what? If it was a much darker story about exploring him, how he's a very likable guy, like a Chris Pratt is, and he was really going insane than being by himself. But then, there's this much darker side of him that falls in love with this girl and comes and takes her life away, and then she does find out, and how do they now... where she basically is stuck on the same spaceship with nowhere to go, with basically her murderer. What's she gonna do? Like, this is absolutely fascinating to me.
Yeah, Ian Banks would have done a real good story out of that.
Yeah. I feel like a director who is perhaps more comfortable with more sort of the darker side of humanity type films might have made a better go of this, because that's the thing, isn't it, really? It's like, I have a problem with that, with the storyline elements for sure, and the fact that it's essentially making it okay that he did what he did, and to me that's not okay at all.
Yeah.
But I think that the film does have some other good qualities, such as it's really the styling and design is really, really cool, and it has some really well put together sequences, and some of the action stuff is really good, and there's some actually really nice humour moments, and they're like, when you sort of, if you try and forget the whole rapey side of it, their relationship is actually kind of nice. But then in the back of your mind, there's always like, no, this is horrible, actually, because he's essentially murdered her.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I kind of like the argument that, but it's because he loved her. No, it's because if you love someone, you don't kill them.
Or you don't condemn them to
you don't
live out
you
their
don't
lives
take away
slowly.
their future, because obviously she had this future ahead of her in the colony.
She was going to build a log cabin, goddammit.
Oh damn it, that's an alien thing. No, I'm not allowed to talk about alien. So, and he takes all of that away, and you don't do that to someone you love. And the fact that she forgives him is what bothered me the most.
Yeah.
Like, I would never forgive someone that did that.
Because, when when she found out, she did shout it to him, like, you basically murdered me, you took my life away. And I was with Jen Lawrence then. I was like, yes, he did do that. You go, girl. You basically tell him off. And I think there does come a point where she walks into where he's sleeping and she considers either killing him or something, but she ends up beating him up because she's that angry.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really good scene, but it just seems that it came to the point where they got to this really interesting point of them being stuck on the spaceship together and knowing what they know about how they woke up and the reasons why she woke up and why he woke up. And then the writers went, well, we don't actually know how to resolve that. Like, there's not a good way that we can come up to keep this still movie PG or whatever rating that they needed to, and to keep the same appeal for it as well. They're like, yeah, we run out of ideas, man. We don't know what to do. And they lived happily ever after.
Yeah, let's have a big thing happen, so they have to get forced back together, and then because of that, she'll forget about all the rapey, murdery stuff, and it'll be totally fine.
I mean, she has nowhere to go anyway. She's stuck on a spaceship. She'll just have to forgive him. And that's just really
It is weird.
I
It is Stockholm Syndrome, the movie in space.
It is, yeah.
Exactly. And you know what? I'm not even angry so much about the consent part of that. I think that's just some bad writing that they wrote it and they thought that'd be cool, and that wasn't cool. What I'm mad is about an excellent movie opportunity, because I think that is the most fascinating situation to be stuck in. It is such a big moral dilemma and moral question, and especially it's a really a big moral question that is good to discuss right now. This is kind of one of the hot topics nowadays about consent. It's really important and really relevant, and they could have really discussed it in a really important, meaningful way.
What I think kind of would have been nice is if you could have gone through the film sort of like he woke her up and they went through this stuff, they had this fight, then it all kind of resolves. And then I would have like thought it would have been quite clever is if it comes back to it that he actually never woke her up at all and he's just imagined this whole thing as his way of dealing with it, of being alone, and he's just fabricated the whole idea.
Oh no, I really hate that. That's such a cop out. It was all a
It was all a dream.
I hated
But
that.
then at least he didn't actually wake her up.
Yeah, but like they did that in the previous, not this one that just been Doctor Who episode, but the previous one was like it were all like simulation, like a game, and it was just like, oh.
I don't mind it too much. I don't mind the it was all a dream thing.
I would have been actually okay if they didn't have like a happy ending, because the other day we were watching The World's End, and that does not have a happy-go-lucky ending. And he was like, okay, for that movie, this makes sense. And I think you didn't need a happy ending for this one. It could have been the ending where Aurora, because she's a writer, she's on the spaceship and she's living...
Yeah.
And she's still writing about her life there, and she is basically writing about her cat and mouse situation with living with her murderer on the spaceship, and that's what is left. And that's when all the other members of the, their space journey, all the other colonists, when they wake up, they find her book, where she basically spent 90 years of just like living in this nightmare, because it is a nightmare. And, trying to, figure out how to live, and that she had nowhere to escape, and all of that kind of stuff. Do you know what? I would have been happy with that kind of resolution to the story.
I can't actually remember exactly what happens in the end, because I saw it at the cinema and I've not seen it since. So doesn't he kind of try and find a way where she can go back to sleep?
Yes, but she refuses.
Yeah, see, that's... See, sorry for
I'd
swearing.
Be like, all right.
But yeah, I'd be like, yeah, sure, go back to sleep, thanks. So that's where... It's a big problem, because she essentially forgives him for all the things and decides to live with him on the spaceship, just the two of them. I mean, it's nonsensical, and I think in the hands of maybe someone like I admire this director. I think he's really good. Like The Imitation Game was excellent, and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, excellent films, but I feel like it needed a darker touch. Like I agree with you, Alex. It needed a bit more of an edge, but I kind of thought it was okay. I think it's fine, but
look, it is entertaining for what it is. But as I said, I honestly think saying that he woke her up isn't really a spoiler because of the ending. Because the resolution is so absolutely crap that the shock of him waking her up is not resolved in any satisfactory way. So when you get to the end, you're like, okay, so that wasn't...
So he got away with it,
that wasn't really...
He got...
Yeah, he got away with it. That wasn't... Knowing that this happened didn't do anything to you.
I wonder if maybe they'd wanted it darker originally, and then they did the whole, like, testing it out on...
Could be.
Audiences.
American audiences might have been like, oh no, we want a happy ending. We think she would stay with him.
Yeah, we wanted kind of Beauty and the Beastie. Or maybe they did, Beauty and the Beast is a cool story, and she falls in love with him, and we need that sells. Maybe they just thought that kind of stuff sells.
So it's not a recommend from you. It's a kind of half recommend from me. I think it's okay. I think it's worth watching, but it definitely has some deep-rooted issues that I'm not sure are easily solved.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on from the passengers right into Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Yeah.
Tell us about this game, Mon.
It is good fun. It feels like the Division summertime.
Oh.
Summertime holiday in South America.
Because, Joe, didn't you play the beta or something? Or was it someone else?
No, I was never keen. I had no interest in this whatsoever from the time. But there were a few people in the group that we play Overwatch with that played it. And apparently they weren't that massively keen. But I don't know. I never tried it.
So we got it just a couple of days ago because it was on sale. It was only like £27 in Argos.
Okay.
For the base game, so we went and picked up a copy because we started playing the Division a bunch again, and I think with the Destiny 2 being announced, we just kind of had a hankering for some co-op shooting. And another one of our friends got it, so the three of us, and we thought, let's just give it a go. We know it's got bad reviews, a lot of people don't like it. We thought, let's try it out, and like so far, it's just been quite fun. It feels like a mix of GTA and the Division. Obviously, being Ubisoft, like the mechanics feel very, very Division-y.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the systems are really similar. You can mod your gun. You can do all that stuff. You got like weapon caches and things and upgrades, and you get new guns. It doesn't have the rain of loot stuff, but a lot of the stuff, the drone is fun to use. There's like a cool little drone you can fly around, and I don't know, it's just a nice third person. I think it's a nice third person shooter. I think we're rubbish at stealth, so we haven't really got any intricacy to it. We just tend to run in. Or we tend to try and stealth, and then someone will go, "Oh, bugger, I've been spotted." And then we're just like, just kill everything.
There's like, plan B, abort, kill everything.
But yeah, but we had some fun stuff, like we've crashed helicopters and we've driven cars randomly into stuff and we've messed up missions, and for me it's just a nice game where if you don't really worry about what the game is trying to do, you just have fun and you come up with cool little stories of, oh, this happened, or oh, this happened and that was fun, and oh, we did this thing. I think I was playing it by myself. I don't think I would have a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds like more having fun because you're together goofing around rather than just...
Yeah, for that it's really cool. If you can pick it up for cheap and have a bunch of friends and you just spend a couple afternoons just running around and being like, look, Ma, I'm driving a plane. This plane has guns on it. It's like we got onto some little biplane and really struggled to take off, and one of our friends was driving it and it was just swirling all over the place, and he managed this beautiful landing, and like as we flew up there was a sunrise on the horizon. It was really pretty. The game was very, very pretty, technically very pretty.
Nice.
And I think after all the snow of the Division, it was quite a nice, it was just a relief. It's like, oh, it's sunny, oh, it's the jungle, oh, it's cool. I'm not paying attention to the plot.
But Mon, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Why don't you just play Division? Like, why do you need 2 games? I'm genuinely interested. This is not a dig at you. I'm genuinely interested. Why would you, if you have Division, why would you get Ghost Recon?
Because we've hit top level at Division, and like we got a whole bunch of new content open, but we don't have anybody else to play that one with because that's on Xbox. And so we picked up Wildlands because one of our friends wanted to play it. So we're really just playing it to play with him. Because then when he's not around, we would just go back to playing Division together and like getting more gear. Because with Division we can do little bite-sized play session because we're at the max level. We've got lots of cool stuff to do. Like we can do survival games, we can do all sorts of things, but it's only the 2 of us on that one. So it's more for this other person wanted to play, and we like playing shooting games with them. Like we played loads of Battlefield and loads of I can't remember what else we played with them. We played a whole bunch of other games, Call of Duty as well, and just lots of. We like the shooties. I'm just happy for more shooties. I think if they maybe give it a bit of love like they did with the Division, maybe it might turn out to be okay. Or like with Rainbow Six, because Rainbow Six is doing really well.
It's very popular, Rainbow Six.
Yeah, Siege is doing really well. My little brother started playing and I was like, what? You're growing up. This is freaking
Well, yeah, we played it a bunch a while back, is because, yeah, it was just an alternative to Overwatch where you could play and shoot things together and was challenging enough.
Yeah.
And which I think the reason why I came back. We haven't really returned to it since then, but
yeah,
it was good.
I think they're really giving a lot of TLC. They've added operators, they've added maps, they've fixed a lot of the matchmaking, they've fixed a lot of stuff, and to the point where Destiny 2, the developers of that, are talking to Rainbow Six Siege developers, being like, how do you deal with hacking? How do you deal with security issues?
That's cool.
Because they've spent so much developing stuff around that to prevent hackers, to prevent all that stuff, because they really, really want to lock that shit down. So they've got to the point where actually they're doing quite well.
Okay, cool.
I don't know, I think I would say if you pick up a copy cheap and you have some friends to play it with and you'll pick it up and you spend couple weekends just fooling around, doing like trying to do cool stealth bits and being really tactical and being like Roger, we're taking out target 1 and you mark target 2 and then you do like a shot together and it's really nice and you just take out 2 targets at the same time. It's like, yeah, we so badass. That's fun and I like that stuff. So I don't know, I would recommend it if you like that kind of game and you just fancy a break from the snow and ice and sadness of the Division. And the enemies on is bullet spongy, which is nice. It's more, they get tougher, more like, I don't know what game to compare it to, but they don't get tougher like in the Division where they just have massive health pools. so they're not bullet spongy.
Yeah, because bullet sponging is always fun.
Yeah, so that's nice. They don't have health bars. They just, if you get a good headshot on them, they'll go down, and it's more satisfying. It's really satisfying to be a sniper, because you get a good sniper and you aim your shots well, and you get nice headshots, and it feels pretty good.
Yeah, there is an episode of Geek Speak somewhere where named Division Rants, where I think it's my 20-minute monologue about everything I hated about Division after playing it for 40 hours.
No.
So, think about what you will.
Yeah, I mean, it does, like, I know that people are kind of, I'm not really into games like this either. I kind of only really have room for one multiplayer game in my life, and that's Overwatch. That's pretty much that's my thing for multiplayer. But, I think people love this. Like, I keep seeing Rainbow Six Siege all over the place, so I think a lot of people definitely have space for stuff like this. It's cool.
And people getting together, and I just in general like the idea of a shooter where you team up with people and you go and almost sandboxy stuff, do crazy stuff together. I think
that is fun.
That aspect
Yeah,
of it
that's
is
really
real
nice. If you just want that and you're bored of Grand Theft Auto,
yeah,
and you're bored of The Division, yep, go for it.
There you go. That's another alternative. Okay, and our last topic. This is something I'm super excited about, and I should have been watching, but I'm a little bit behind because I'm rewatching currently the first original series with Team, and we haven't caught up. But Joe, tell me about Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks.
No, please don't. I don't want to hear anything about
It's okay. I'm not gonna say anything about what happens. I'm not, because that's the thing with Twin Peaks. The beauty of Twin Peaks is if you've seen the first original series, both, then you don't need to know anything else. You just go in, you sit down, and you just let the David Lynch wonderful randomness just wash over you. I won't say it, obviously the key players are back, apart from some notable exceptions. So, Killer Bob, for example, the actor that played him sadly died a few years ago, so he is not in it. Catherine Coulson, who played Log Lady, she has a very, very small appearance, but she actually was super, super ill with cancer while they were filming it, and she sadly died before it was finished.
Oh no!
I read about that.
Lady.
But so she does make an appearance, because she was still there when they filmed it, and it is quite a moving scene. But I won't go into details. But it's just classic Twin Peaks, but with some new storylines and new elements for the modern times. But it's just David Lynch at his absolute best. He's just pulled off what I didn't think was possible. I was so nervous about this, thinking, I love Twin Peaks.
I was nervous about this.
I love it so much.
I'm really nervous.
Specifically the first series of Twin Peaks, I think is still one of the best TV shows there's ever been. It's just completely mental. It does what it wants. It has the great storyline. It was completely intriguing all the way through. Great performances. And it was just one of a kind. There was nothing else like it. So you could argue that new Twin Peaks has the weight of expectation and also 25 years of other shows nicking its ideas on its shoulders. Yeah. So I was worried about it, because I was thinking, how is it going to still feel like super high quality Twin Peaks, David Lynch awesomeness with all of that expectation? But he's pulled it off. It's absolutely top caliber stuff. I would say that and American Gods are the best things on TV right now. We've had 4 episodes of new Twin Peaks so far. I've watched them all. I'm not going to say anything at all about what happens, because you just need to watch them.
So but it's good.
Oh, it's so good. I was so pleased. It has some really, some of it's super creepy. He's put some really scary stuff in there, and the characters have obviously gone through some interesting changes in the time that we've had since the last series ended. 25 years is a long time, and so things are different, but also things are reassuringly the same in a lot of ways. But I don't want to say any more, because like Alex and yourself, you don't want to know about any of this stuff until you watch it, and you just must watch it. It's stunning. So yeah, David Lynch, he's the best, and he's made awesome Twin Peaks again. So yay!
What's the easiest way of watching it?
It's on Sky Atlantic. So if you have Now TV, which is £6-7 a month, £6.99 or £7.99 a month, it's on that. So that's what I have.
We might.
It's like Now TV is like Netflix. It's just you pay a monthly thing. You can cancel it whenever you want, and it's pretty cool. So you can get it on that.
Is it? Are all the episodes still up? It's not like they don't take them down.
No, yeah, it's the first 4 are on. I don't know how long they stay on for. I should imagine they'll probably keep them available for streaming for some time, like they do with Game of Thrones and stuff like that. Like the big Sky Atlantic shows usually stick around for a little while. But I don't know, it's going to depend on the distribution issues. And to be honest, because I've been watching them as soon as they've been available, I haven't even really thought about it. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's actually what I'm slightly worried about, because we have cancelled our Sky, so we would need to get
Now TV,
now for it, and we're gonna get it for when the Game of Thrones is back on, which would probably also, by that time, we'll probably finally catch up with Twin Peaks as well, so we can start watching the new series along the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, to be honest though, at that point you may as well just download it.
They've got the original series of Twin Peaks on Now TV at the moment as well for streaming. So if you were struggling to find any of the older episodes, they're all on there as well. There's loads of other good stuff actually on Now TV. It's pretty good. So, you've got like Outcast is on there from Fox. So you have things like The Walking Dead when that's on Now TV. Because I used to pay a lot of money each month for Sky, and I kind of realised that I was only watching certain channels, like for certain key shows, things like Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, stuff like that. And I was like, well, this is nuts. I'm paying 40 quid or something a month for something I barely use. So I cancelled that and went for Now TV instead. And so now I pay like 7 quid a month. And I get everything that I want. So it's really good. But anyway, back to Twin Peaks. It's awesome. I love Twin Peaks. I love this new series. It's some people I know were worried because series 2 took a rapid downhill sort of slide about halfway through and just became a bit rubbish towards the end.
Oh, I still liked all of it. The one thing I didn't like is Fire Walk With Me. I just didn't like the movie.
I did and didn't.
Not like
what? What I've realised the other day is that I've actually never seen it. I thought I did, but I haven't. I have now got a Blu-ray of it for my birthday, so I will watch it now because I want to watch it. But just seen the whole series, thought I've seen it all, and then I was like, wait a second. I just read the synopsis of the story, and I was like, I've not seen that.
Yeah, Fire Walk With Me is pretty cool. I mean, what's lovely about what's happening at the moment is, Cannes, right, the film festival in France, they're notoriously up and down, and they'll just be brutal if they don't like something. When Fire Walk With Me came out, I believe it got massively booed. Like, I think they hated it. But now, with the new Twin Peaks, because that was shown at Cannes, he got like a standing ovation. Then there's a beautiful video clip of David Lynch just stood there, and everyone is stood up cheering and applauding him. And you can see he's got like tears in his eyes because it's just like it obviously means a lot. I could be wrong about Fire Walk With Me. Maybe they loved it, but I'm sure I read that they were not keen on it at all and that it got booed, and so that's why it was such a big thing that 25 years later they love him again. But David Lynch, I mean, he's one of a kind, isn't he? There's no other filmmaker out there like David Lynch. And when he's on form, like he is right now with new Twin Peaks, he's just absolutely amazing. So yeah, it's really good. Worth watching. Cool.
Looking forward to it. And I want to see American Gods because I love
it's so good. Alex, have you watched the latest episode? Oh my God.
I did.
The show, man.
I know.
It's just...
I do not remember. I think I had watching American Gods, and guys, we're really sorry we're coming back to it, but it's just such a fantastic show. You cannot help but talk about it. But I remember feeling the same about maybe the beginning series of Game of Thrones, where I would go through the episode and I would just be like on pins and needles, and I'd be like, I need the second one. This was so good. I want more of it.
Have you read?
It's over. No.
Have you read the books?
No, I haven't read the books, and I don't think I'm going to. Okay. I don't think I'm going to.
Because I was like, why would you?
I'm in the middle of listening to the audiobook, so my audiobook listening, I think I'm now slightly ahead of where the show is.
Cool.
But the show has added a lot more stuff.
Okay.
A lot more, in this case, I have to say a lot more better stuff.
That's cool.
Than the book had. There's a lot of things, especially where Laura's storyline is concerned, because I think the book was a bit too... It wasn't... I guess it's, because it's been written a while back, and it's really a little bit, a child of its time. The women there are not that well written. They're a bit too flat and stereotypical, like they're different just stereotypes, basically.
In all fairness, I can't really remember most of them.
I'm not going to read it, and I did the same with Game of Thrones. Like when that came on and it was just amazing and I just fell in love with it. And people were like, oh, you should read the books. I was kind of like, I don't want to, because I want to carry on being surprised by the show. So like with Game of Thrones, I've got no idea what's coming. And with American Gods, I've got no idea what's coming. And I love that because then I'm surprised by it.
Don't worry. Book readers of Game of Thrones don't know what's coming
anyway,
because George R. Martin hasn't written the next book.
Nobody knows now. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, then the last season was way beyond book territory. Anyway, we're all in the dark.
But yeah. Twin Peaks, American Gods, we are spoiled for good TV right now.
I know. The good TV is coming, and then I'm really hoping for a really good season of Game of Thrones. Although I will say now, I'm not too reassured by watching the trailer, which I think came out last week.
I haven't watched it. I thought, no, I don't need to watch it.
See, okay, I will say one thing. The Game of Thrones, I think the first season is still one of the strongest seasons ever, and it is the season where they had the least budget. So a lot of that first season is moments between the characters talking, and just fantastic actors doing fantastic actor work. Tense scenes where they're saying one thing, you're reading that from what they're saying, they're reading things from what they're not saying, they're reading things from what they're doing, you're reading things from the setting. There's just so much things to going on that you could rewatch it all the time. And I think as soon as that show has got a lot of success, and as soon as they got a bigger budget, and could afford to do big battles, flashy special effects, and so on, they went away from what to me was so great about it, which was those character moments. And maybe this is jumping too much ahead because, it was a trailer, and what else are they going to show in a trailer except for those big boom, blockbuster kind of things. But this is not why I love Game of Thrones.
I kind of agree and disagree. Like, I love the character stuff, like you say, like some of the relationships between the characters and all the sort of political machinations that go on and all that kind of thing. But I also love the spectacle. Like, the Battle of the Bastards from last season, I swear to God, that just blew my mind. I had to rewind it and watch it again because I was just like, that's possibly the best put together sequence I've ever seen on TV. It was just unreal. And because of the kind of like person I am, like I love special effects and all that kind of cool stuff. And I love that. And things like the fight between the Viper and the Mountain. Oh my God, was it the Mountain? Wait, I might have got that wrong. Yeah, Viper and the Mountain.
Yeah, there was a Mountain and the Viper.
Amazing. And then there was the Battle of Blackwater, also amazing. So for me, I love the big scenes where big things happen. So, yeah.
I don't have anything against the battles. The Battle of the Bastards, just the way it was shot
unbelievable.
with actually very little special effects. That was amazing. What I mean is like scenes like, do you remember Dany's speech to Dothraki? Yes. Yeah. This completely, there was some CGI work that I thought, well, that's not necessarily needed to be there. Like, it's cool that it's there, it's a cool shot, but there's a lot more of that than of the character moments.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't mind them having a big flashy battle, like, once every so often, because you obviously need to do that. And they do it very well, but there is also some stuff that they don't need to do, but they do because now it's Game of Thrones and they have a lot of money and they can.
It'd be interesting to see, because it's a shorter season as well.
Yeah, it's 7 episodes.
So, yeah, we'll see. Because I guess, really, we've only got, like, 14 episodes or something before it ends completely.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
I know. People who've been waiting to find out how the story ends since 1991, you're finally going to get your wish.
You just know that no one's going to be happy, though. You just know.
But even G.R.R. Martin doesn't really know. He says he's told, like, they've spoken to the people making the show, so they kind of know. But he could change his mind. He could just write something else.
Oh man, you know what? This is another dilemma that I think we could just spend like a whole half a show discussing because I find this so interesting and fascinating. And poor George R. R. Martin not knowing what to do and basically
he's never going to please everybody.
Writer's block that he kind of put himself in with this show, but maybe not. But maybe something else. But we're just terribly running out of time.
Got a bit carried away.
I will. Yeah, I know. Sorry, it was me with American Gods. To be fair.
That's okay.
It's so good though. It's so good.
which is great. Mon, watch
Yeah,
American
it's
I know,
Beautiful.
beautiful.
I want to.
Yes, Amazon Prime. Go there, do that. It's so good. Okay, so thank you so much for listening to this episode 91 of BigRedBarel Geek Speak. We are gonna do some shout outs, and the first actually is in the form of question. James from the last episode has asked us on Twitter, what's the deal with airline food? Well, James, in general, it sucks. That's what's the deal with it.
Well, I can tell you a little trick with airline food.
Yeah, don't eat it.
Well, in my last job, I used to travel a lot, doing things with tractors abroad, photography stuff and whatnot. And because for the last sort of 4 years I've been a vegan/vegetarian, obviously what was quite good is my company had a thing, and so every time they had like a spreadsheet thing, and every time they'd book a flight for me, they would specify a vegan meal, right? And I can honestly tell you, if you want better airline food, ask for a vegan or vegetarian option, because it's much nicer. You get much better stuff.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so that's my friendly tip to people that travel and want better food.
I'm gonna have to double check that with Ollie, because I guess he wouldn't know what the meat one would be like, but he's had to fly a good bunch to America, and he's vegetarian.
Yeah.
And I don't think he likes airplane food at all.
I mean, yeah, it was kind of hit and miss depending on the airline, to be honest. But yeah, I've always found that, like, it was quite fun. I'd travel with my colleagues who weren't vegetarian, and I'd always get mine first. Like, they would always do the specialist meals first. So the vegan, vegetarian, and allergy meals, like allergy-free stuff, would always come out first. So they'd kind of be looking at mine and be like, oh yeah, that looks nice, yeah. And I'd be like, yeah, it's kind of all right, yeah, it's fine. It'd usually be like some pasta thing with veggies in and stuff. So it was okay. And then they'd get like some absolutely rank-looking beef casserole or something come out, and they'd kind of look at it, I'd just be like, yep, enjoy.
Oh, good
so yeah,
God.
it's not the best.
Well, I hope you're happy with our answer, James. We would also like to say big thank yous on the forums to Tim, Stingo, and Stealthy Joe, and also thank you to Will Driver at WillDriver93 on Twitter, and special shout out to Will because I saw him at MCM this weekend.
Nice.
So hi, Will.
Hi, Will.
Hi, Will. If you would like to chat with us, leave a comment, ask us a question, suggest a topic that you want us to discuss, you can do so on the forums on bigredbarel.com, in the comments of this show or any other show. You can do so on Facebook, facebook.com/bigredbarel.com. You can do so on YouTube, surprisingly, because we post our episodes on YouTube as well. So you can go comment on YouTube, we'll see your comment, and we will reply/answer/say things. You can also do so on a Twitter, at BigRedBarel. Use hashtag Geek Speak, this helps us find your tweet. You can speak to us directly. I'm at _.
I'm at Pixel Ritual.
And I'm at Monica_Iron.
Ah, Monica remembers her Twitter handle.
Shut up.
Yeah, Joe, because you weren't here before, but we started this podcast, and Monica had the biggest trouble remembering her Twitter handle.
But
it was
it's
adorable.
It was just the underscore.
But it's your name. How do you forget?
I forget
your
the
own
underscore.
It's like, where does the underscore go? Here, there.
It's a cool
Everywhere.
name. Monica Ion. Like Ion, you sound like you should be a superhero.
Thank you.
So, on top of that, Tuesday is a Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen, and on Tuesday we have Tabletop Tuesdays in Loading Bar in London, Dalston, where we play awesome board games. And every week we have a new board game coming to the bar, and if you play it on the night, you have a chance of winning it at 10:30 that evening. And you should totally come to Tabletop Tuesday and play some board games with us. Also, on a side note, if anyone is gonna be in UK Games Expo, which is happening 2nd to the 4th of June, I believe, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be playing all the awesome board games. If you're there...
In Birmingham?
It is in Birmingham, yes.
I'm going to be there.
What?
On the Saturday. Alex, I did not know you were going to be there. We need to discuss this further.
Aww.
Yeah, I'm going with the people I play board games with.
You coming to the expo?
Yeah.
Oh my god, Joe!
Yeah. Yeah.
Aww.
Only on the Saturday, though. I'm only going the one day.
It's fine. I'll be there all day.
Hooray!
Oh my god. Okay, we will talk about this
We will
later.
discuss.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm feeling
We
left
will
out now.
discuss.
I'm going to a big
I'm sorry, Monica.
I'm going to a big nerdy art workshop for both
That's
days.
cool, though. That's cool.
that is pretty cool.
Oh, I guess.
Well, next year, Monica, we're taking you with us. Whether you want to or not, we're taking you hostage and we're dragging you to Birmingham so you can come to play board games with us.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So that's Geek Games Expo. I think these are all shout-outs and all the reminders I needed to remind. Oh, no, the last one is iTunes. Yes, iTunes is still a thing. We're surprised just as much as you are, but we do love some reviews on there. If you could leave us some, we would absolutely love you forever. And actually, now that I'm talking, a final reminder about cookies and booze, which are a bit on the hiatus at the moment because Julia was sick this weekend and I'm away next weekend, but we should be back on 11th of June with more Resident Evil, which will be on Twitch/Cookies and Booze, 9 p.m. UK time. Come get freaked out with us and let's kill some weird black blobby monsters, because that's what we are doing.
Yay.
Uh-huh. Okay, so for episode 91 of BigRedBarel Geek Speak, I have been Butts.
I have been really trying really hard to not talk about Alien or King Kong and failing miserably.
Aww.
Talking about tentacles instead.
Talking about tentacles.
And I wish I could have talked about Alien. I would have talked about Alien.
I'm not allowed anymore.
What?
Where'd you take this from? I never said you
No,
weren't
I
allowed.
know. It's a self-imposed ban because I'm just getting a bit too much.
Alright, well I will ask you after we stop recording.
Okay, cool.
Alright, and I've been Monica. Yay.
And we bid you goodbye.
Bye.
Butts.
Tentacles.
You and your ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarel.com.